Hey writer friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you my top 10 tips to improve your writing, aka how to not suck. If you're new here, my name is Holly. I'm a writer aspiring to be a published author. If you haven't already, please give this video a big thumbs up, click subscribe to support my channel, and ring that bell so you don't miss any videos. All right, so how to not suck at writing. That's something that we all want, right? Well, I'm gonna be sharing my top 10 tips. I have more than 10, so if you already wanna see a part 2, let me know in the comments down below. But we are going to jump right in to tip number 1, which is to write and get feedback on your writing. So I'm sorry to say it, but we all suck at writing when we first start out. We all are horrible writers and we don't know what we're doing. Even the New York Times best-selling authors started out writing horribly. But that's where they started, and that's not where they're at now because they kept writing and they got feedback on their writing. So you are going to improve your writing just by the act of practicing writing. You're going to be honing your craft and be able to catch more things, but also the reader component is also important because you need feedback on that so that you can see all of the things that you can't see yourself. We have our tiny lens over here. Oh, this needs to be changed. This needs to be changed. Whereas any beta readers or critique partners are going to be ripping it apart, looking at things with a microscope, seeing everything at the same time. They are going to be tearing it apart, but that's what you want because that's how you're going to get better as a writer. Suffice to say, you're not going to grow if you don't know what you need to change. Tip number 2 is not to aim to be a bestseller. This writer journey takes a long time, and the story that you're writing might not be the one that you debut at. It might not be one that ever sees the light of day, but it's going to help you grow as a writer on your journey to eventually become published. Maybe that book will, but maybe it won't. But you don't want to be working so hard to make this the best book that's gonna hit all of the shelves and give you a 6-7 figure deal. That's probably not gonna happen, and what you're gonna end up doing is being frustrated and disappointed. You might give up, and you don't want that to happen. So just write the story that you want to write, that you're going to enjoy, not looking at these lists, not trying to be the best, but just doing what you feel is showing a part of your heart and is making you happy. But on the flip side, tip number 3 is to think about your reader. So you want to make sure that when you're writing your story that you make it fun and exciting. You don't want it to be boring where, all of it is just monotonous and there's no action or there's no plot twists. Everything is predictable or boring. You want it to be fun for the reader because that's going to keep them reading. So in the back of your mind, you can either think, what would you enjoy as a reader? Or, if this book was out, would readers enjoy it? So that also ties into having those beta readers and critique partners because they can tell you if they enjoyed reading your draft. But keeping them in mind when you're writing is going to help you keep things fresh and try to think outside of the box. Tip number 4, you may have heard before, but it is show, don't tell. Now, this isn't an end-all be-all rule. This isn't something that you should do all the time, but a lot of the times you should be showing and not telling. I actually don't have a video about this. I've been kind of not scared, but it's just such an important topic that I want to be able to do it justice if I come out with a video for it. If that is something you're interested in, let me know in the comments down below and I will try to come out with something with good examples of that. But it's that whole don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass. Showing and not telling is going to immerse your reader into the story and make them feel like they're a part of the story and not that they're just reading words on a page. So, really quick off the top of my head, instead of saying it's hot outside or it's hot, say, beads of sweat dripped from my brow. I rolled up my sleeves, giving some relief to my bare skin. Whatever, I don't know. It's hard to think of something off the spot, but it's just something that it paints a picture for you and it makes it more like a movie, which is what readers want. They want that scene painted in front of them instead of trying to imagine what's happening. And if you just say, it's hot, it's okay, they just move on. Tip number 5 is to eliminate cliches. So that would be starting the story with someone waking up or the character describing themselves, the way they look in a mirror. Those are cliches, but there's also phrases that can be cliches, like the tip of the iceberg or hard as a rock. Try to think outside of the box, because then your writing is going to feel fresh and you're going to gain some upper edge among the slush pile if you are going to query and catch the eye of agents. So instead you could say the tip of the icicle or hard as titanium. So it conveys the same thing that you wanted to say, but it explains it in a different way. Tip number 6 is to tighten up your writing. So try to eliminate any words that don't need to be there, such as he stood up or she sat down. Sitting implies down, so you can take out down. Standing implies up, so you can take out up. Now, there are some exceptions to things here and there, but for the most part, that just cuts out these unnecessary words. I learned very early on to think of, when you're cutting words in editing, you can think about you're going to gain $1 for every word that you cut. So in your writing, try to already kind of write with those tightened phrases so that you'll save yourself some time. So it's not good to like edit as you're writing, but if you kind of keep that in the back of your mind, like when I'm writing and I'm gonna say stand, I automatically know not to put up in there, and so that's gonna save me time when I'm editing. Tip number 7 is to use strong verbs. So this is kind of along the same lines as the last tip, in that you can kind of think about this while you're writing, but it might be something that you have to address more in the editing phase. But that is making sure that you're taking out these adverbs, and it's gonna tighten up your writing. So instead of saying, for example, he ran quickly, you can say he sprinted. So try to think about things that aren't as obvious too, like she lightly touched his arm. You can say she caressed his arm. You know, try to think about that, but finding those adverbs which end in ly is going to help you find those parts where you can tighten up with a stronger verb. Tip number 8, we're going back deep into the writing before writing, and that is making sure you do your research. So I'm sure we've all been there when we're reading a book and we're like, this is totally not believable, or this is definitely not true, or like it's very offensive because it's a stereotype and it's not true for that character. And you don't want that to happen in your own writing. So make sure you do your research, whether that is doing research online, hiring sensitivity readers, or actually interviewing friends and family or people in the fields that you're writing about. You want to be accurate. You don't want to do a disservice to your book. You don't want all of your hard work to just fall away just because of this one part that you didn't do enough research on. Tip number 9 is to, sorry to say it, develop a thick skin, because it's going to take a long time. Like I said before in the earlier tips, you're not going to start off as a very good writer. Now, you don't have to end that way, but it's going to take a while for you to get there, and it's going to take trial and error. So you're not going to be perfect at things. You're going to have to get that beta feedback that might not be exactly what you want to hear, and what your critique partner tells you might not cheer you up because they're saying all the things that are wrong with your manuscript. But you know that it's coming from a place of love because they want to help you. They're taking the time to go through your manuscript for free to help give you feedback. And the whole point of that is to know that they're there to help you make your manuscript stronger. And you know, for however long that it takes for you to get published, whether it's self-published or traditionally published, this road is going to be worth it, and you don't want to rush the process. And tip number 10, last but not least, don't let failure stop you. This kind of ties into the last one, but if you've been through the query trenches like I have, you know that rejection is a real thing. No one's gonna have magical success, you know. Some people do have that overnight success, but they're unicorns. Most people have to work very hard for many years, and a lot of people give up. But you know, the people that don't give up are the ones whose books are on the shelves behind me. And they're the people who kept persevering and kept pushing through, and those actually make the best writers. If you're interested in more tips and tricks on becoming a better writer, I will link my Writer Hacks playlist down below in the description and up in the cards. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite tip was and what you'll be taking with you to become a better writer. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.